Hello, and welcome to Cry Havoc Wargaming, dedicated to bringing you the uncommon. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Ron, and today we're going to be doing a review and gameplay example of Opposing Force, the new solo play rules for Battleforce. So let's get started. So recently, the author of Battleforce, available on Wargames Vault, has come up with Opposing Force. This is an expansion to the game that allows for solo play. By the time this video airs, this is probably available on Wargame Vault. I got a pre-release copy of it to share with you people here today. So that's what we're doing. So let's go ahead and go to the gaming table. So the whole secret to the solo version of Battlefront is this card. This is a defense tactics card. There's two decks of these. There's the offense or the defense tactics card, depending on which side the bots are acting as. In this case, they're going to be on the defensive. So the card, it begins by showing, here you'll see it says movement phase, and it shows what actions the fire teams, dividing into three, will take. Then there's different symbols here for the action phase. This works in a priority system, so they work their way down. If the first one's not applicable to the situation, it then goes to the next one, and so on down. Reactive movement phase and main combat phase. I'm not going to explain what all the icons mean here, because that's actually kind of complicated because there's an awful lot of them, but they're all described in the rule book and all make a lot of sense. It's actually a brilliant system. It's the only game I'm aware of that has an AI system which is activated by a random card. Usually they're assigned per either all of the bad guys or, like in Perilous Tales, each bad guy has a aggression level and a hunting technique, and then it affects what chart they look at. But here it's a random card die roll, which I think is going to prove interesting. So the scenario we're going to be playing today is Cloak and Dagger. It's one of the basic scenarios in the original book. It's under the section for competitive game. There's a handful of narrative scenarios, and there's a handful of scenarios that are designed to be equally matched for competitive gaming. We are using the competitive game, and we are using the solo cards, as was mentioned. So the goal of this game, both sides are approaching from either end of the table. The terrorists are coming on from this side. They start within 6 inches of the table. There are two here, one there, and one inside the building. Whereas the other side, all four of their coalition forces are right here, with the machine gunner on the porch to provide a cover fire over most of the table. Or he will once he's in position. They can only come in within 6 inches of the edge. For those of you who are curious, both sides I'm using the normal write-ups, the list that came with Scorpion's Lair, the same figures and characters that I was using in the previous game. So the first thing we have to do is we have to determine who has initiative. It's done by rolling a d6. The modified initiatives is 2 for Red Scorpion, and it is 5 for the coalition forces. The coalition forces get 11 and 5. So initiative is going to go to the coalition forces. So we've pulled a card for the bad guys because since the coalition has the initiative, then the first movement will be one of the fire teams of the Taliban. And this is the card I drew. And what it does is it says here that the first fire team is moving straight forward and the other two are moving to the right. The blue means that they are moving at tactical, which is half their usual movement speed. That is going to give them a bonus, however, on their MBA. So we're going to start with moving the fire team 2 for our fire team 1. We're going to call these guys fire team 1 right now. This is Suhail Yassin and Naguib Shahid. I'm probably mispronouncing these names horribly. They are a fire team, so they get to move both together. Their movements should normally have been, it would have been 6 for Shahid and 6 for either of them. They are moving at tactical, however, so they're only going to be moving half of that, 3 inches forward.
It's odd that tactical is giving to their MBA and not to their defense. We'll put a tactical marker on them. And now we go over to the other side. On this side, I get to do what I want. The first action I'm going to take is to move our machine gun, Staff Sergeant Bob Doyle. His move is 7. He could move 3.5. This end chair is all lattice work, so it'll provide cover and still gives him line of sight, which is part of what he wants to do there. So he's moved tactically. So the second fire team for the Red Scorpions is hidden. They're in this building right here. They're also moving tactically. Jawar Kabah and Nadir Sahid. They both move at 6 normally. They're tactical, so they're going to be moving at 3s. They're going to try to stay out of line of sight as best they can. Coming to there. That's tactical. This leaves us with this fire team here. This is just about everybody else. Coalition side. The slowest ones are moving at 6, so we'll just move them all at 3 and keep them tactical for right now. Alright, so he's moves 3 inches this way to take a position here, and the boss has also moved towards a window on this edge down there. The next phase is the action phase. The action phase is done in order of the initiative. The side that has initiative goes first, and then the other side. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assess the battlefield with the leader. That'll give a +3 to the coalition keeping the initiative next turn. Sort of a way of stopping the other side from stealing that away from you. All right, but that's what the card calls for. We're going to do a targeted attack. It's going to be, he's going to try to get an attack because he's got line of sight actually on my assessing figure there. So he's going to try to shoot the leader over most of the table. I'm going to react with the machine gunner there. So this is where that MBA would normally have affected things. That is Kadir Ozir. His modified action is 5. It's 7 because of the plus. Bob Boyle's is 6, 7, 8. So Bob is going to interact. He's going to get his shot off first. He is firing a machine gun all the way across the table. The range band for this weapon is 20 inches. It's 28 inches, so he is in the second band. So shooting in the second band, he's got a -1 for that. He's firing, it's an automatic weapon, so it has to fire 3. So his skill is 2. I have to roll a d6, I have to beat a 2. But I'm going to have a number of negatives. I've got a -1 for the range, a -3 when you add the fully auto, and -4 because of the cover. 2. So that's oh, that was 3 shots though. 1 manages to hit. Light machine guns, yellow damage, so we pull a random yellow card. And what we end up getting, he is wounded and hamstrung, probably. Let me make sure of what his defense numbers are. So we've got a hamstrung and a wound on Kadir Ozir there. He can't fire. He's not going to be able to hit anything though, because his weapon has only got a 9-inch. So he's got a bunch of negatives already just for that. He hasn't a chance of hitting at this range. Because of what was on the card, the other four terrorists have gone into hunkering down, probably because of the reaction of the firing that we didn't just hear. Oh, there was a machine gun earlier. And then we're going to continue to do dodges with those who can dodge over here, which is everybody but Captain Reese Wade. But because they've already responded, they can't respond to that. So that is the end of the action phase. So we go to reaction movement phase.
This is where the second movement figure is used. And in this case, all of the losers of the initiative roll will make their movements first before any of the winners. It allows for you to use your initiative by responding to the movement. It also is helpful. It's a great tactic for how you get into the close combat rules or into close combat distance. I have to pull a new card for the Taliban, a new defense tactics card. To see, we pull a new one of these each phase, and then it sets up how they all respond for that phase. This time we've got the symbol they have there. This is their card. Probably can't read it there, but the little guy, that is a defensive movement. So they all move at whatever their movement rates are, and they're going to be moving to cover. The Red Scorpion's already in cover. Qadir Hazir is in cover. Sahul Yazin, he's going to move to the fence line here. And he's going to move there. That actually isn't really necessary anymore. He can't make it over there. He can make it here. All right, now it's our turn. So that would be the end of the reactive movement phase, and that takes us to the combat phase. The initiative still belongs to the coalition, so they're going to begin. There aren't a whole lot of people here who can fire. I think we have a lot of line of sight issues going on over here. Those two guys up there have lines of sight, and the machine gun does. The machine gun goes first, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot 3 rounds of that machine gun toward the Red Scorpion who's in the window there. 2 is the skill. The range is just barely in the second band, so it's a -1 for that, -1 for cover, and it is 2 for the range, so it is a -4. Three shots at -4s. And not a single one of them hits, so not even close. Bang, 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 bang. So the machine gun does not hit, it goes to their turn. I'm going to see a return fire. It'll be from the Scorpion would be -2. Cover would make it -3. Red Scorpion's skill is 2. Going to do 1 shot at -3. And that's a hit. So he hits, doing a yellow card of damage to Staff Sergeant Boyle. It's no effect. Haha, he laughs at it. That's unfortunate for the bad guys. I don't have anyone else who has line of sight. So that ends the first turn of the game. I'll flip this over to game marker for the 2. So far we have a wounded guy on the roof there. That's wounded Qadir. He is hamstrung and wounded. Both sides are approaching, moving up to the van. And so we go to turn 2. All right, so the first thing we have to do is we have to roll for initiative for turn 2. +5 for the coalition or the UN forces. Ooh, that is a 6. They are tactical, so that gives them a +2, so that's 8. The terrorists also have assessed, but they did it second, so they only get a +1, and they are only a +2. So there's 6. Wow, that was close. They almost did get it that time. Initiative stays with the UN forces. The first phase is movement. All right, so for the movement phase, the terrorists have moved first. These ones here have come down this hallway here towards the fence. And while that happened, the UN forces have moved closer to the van, approaching behind that container there. These 2 fellows over here, which you probably can barely see, have pulled back. The machine gun has stayed in its position up on the balcony. The wounded terrorist up there has fallen back into more cover. And in game terms, that cover won't actually help him anything. But he's hamstrung, he can hardly move, and he only has a 3-inch move, and he was supposed to be moving sideways anyway. So now we go to the action phase, and the card, the first choice for the
action for the terrorist is a first aid. Then it's reload, no one needs to do that. Then it's target. We don't have a lot of that either. Well, we do have fire with the Red Scorpion from this window up to the machine gun in the corner of that building there. He'll return fire, or try to. So Red Scorpion's MBA is 5, and Staff Sergeant Bob Boyle's is 6. So Bob Boyle fires first. It is just barely in the second band, so that's going to be a -1 for that. He has to fire 3 rounds because it's a fully automatic weapon. So that's an additional -2, so it's a -3, and then he is in cover. So it's -4, just like the other shot. That's 1. So those are all misses. I did not do this before, and I should have. That machine gun can hit anything within 3 inches around it, other targets with the same roll. So it's going to be a -3 up on there to Kadir Ozier as well. And 2 3s and a 1. Poor shooting for Boyle. Now the Red Scorpion shoots back. The Red Scorpion, it's the same thing. It's a -4. We're going to fire just the 1. I think it's the only he can do. Ooh, that is a hit. With an assault rifle, that is a yellow card. Boyle's defense, base defense is 2. Cover makes it 3, but still he is wounded. So Boyle has been wounded up there on his own in that balcony. That could prove problematic. And now it is our turn for an action. Go ahead and dodge. I'm going to be out in the open if I dodge much further. Oh, still, we'll do it. So we'll dodge 3 inches there. That's out of line of sight. They can't really react. So it is their turn. The wounded fellow up there can try to shoot, but he'd be -5. So he's not going to hit anything. Go ahead and try it. Shooting at him. Shooting at the machine gun up here again. That is a miss. We'll go ahead and move him. This fellow here is going to assess the battlefield. That is going to give a plus for their side. UN has not assessed yet. For them, they're going to go ahead and move up around the corner here. And that finishes it for the action phase. So we'll go into the reactionary movement phase. I have to pull a new card for the terrorists. For their reactionary move, close combat or defensive, you can only move 3 inches. And they're going to be ready to boost over that wall. They're already done. We actually start coming around the corner here. I think we're going to have to do something. Well, no, he's going to want to shoot. So let's get him around the corner. All right, so that takes us to the combat phase. Combat, the pistol with initiative is going to shoot first. Going to go ahead and fire with Boyle and his machine gun. He's going to fire at the people down there on the ground. Full auto again. He's still at a -4. Oh, he's not. He's a -5 because he's wounded. So he misses. There's the guy behind him, also in cover. There's 1 hit on the guy behind him. He is wounded and hamstrung. So we have a wound back there and hamstrung. They fire back. It's going to be the same thing it's been. 1 round, -4 to him on the no. From here down to here. It's a second band, almost 2. So that's going to be a -1 for that. -2 because he's wounded. Go ahead and fire 2 rounds. So that's a miss. He fires back. He is at, he's going to fire 3 rounds. He is only in band, he's in band 2 as well. So that would be -1, -2 for the cover, -4 if I fire 4 rounds, which I think I will do. One, that is a miss. And this one here, that is a -2, cover -3, that's a miss. And the red scorpion, that is -2, and cover -3. He's going to fire on selector switch 3. All right, he shoots and hits Sergeant C.J. Prophet. Base defense is 2. 3 with the cover. Ooh, that is bad news, Bears. He is killed. Boom, we have a casualty. Just like that, he is down. That is a success for the terrorists. And that is the combat phase, which brings us to the end of turn 2 and takes us into turn 3. The first thing to do is to roll for the initiatives. It's +5 for the UN forces. They get a 10. And it is +5 for the terrorists. And we knock the defenses down. Oh, 9. Close, but no cigar. All right, so the UN maintains the initiative, and therefore the move phase goes first to the terrorists. Pull a new card for the move. They tactically climb over that fence. So, okay, we've done the movement phase. The fellows here, I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, you can, just barely. They've boosted each other up over that fence. This fire team approached the target van and took a position across the road. The fellows back there with the wounded guy, they fell back. And that's it. That's all for my movements. We go into the action phase. The first action that I'm going to take, I'm going to go ahead and risk it. I'm going to try to break open the van. A level 2 skill, or a little level 2 challenge. That is, unfortunately, it's only Corporal Roger Dunn, who's got a base skill of 3. Yay! But his modified action is 6, which is going to matter more because he's going to be fired on in return by the Red Scorpion, who's doing really well. The Red Scorpion's modified action is 5. Okay, so he's actually going to get his roll in before the action. His base skill was 3. I said it was going to be a 2. He needs a 5 or higher. It's kind of rough. Oh, we got it. So he's broken open the back of the van. On his next action phase, if he can last till then, next turn, he'll be able to get the document. But there's return fire from the Scorpion. And this is at closer range, too. That is just barely range band 1. I'm going to still give him his cover. He was trying to be in cover. It's debatable where this shoot's happening. This Red Scorpion hits, his score is, skill is 2. He's firing with that assault rifle. He's going to go ahead and take a -2 for full auto. Ooh, lousy roll. So he misses. That's going to give us a secondary shot. I'm going to fire with our assault rifle back. This will be a -1 because this was just at the first band, so this will certainly be in band 2. He's going to return fire. Being at band 2 puts him in, gives him a -1. Cover, -2. I want to do for -3 with 2 rounds. Okay, so he gets a 3 and a 2. I think that's my boss, isn't it? It sure is. Grease Wade fires back. The wounded Kadir Ozir is going to try to react to this. His modified reaction is 5. My modified reaction is 7, so I do go first. My base skill was 2, so it was 1, 2, 3. So the first one misses, but the second one hits. Red Scorpion's modified defense is 3. Cover, we'll make it 4. Wounded, bleeding, 2. And suppressed. He's not going to be able to do the return fire because he's suppressed. The fellow up here is going to return that fire. He is only 9s to hit. He counts as being with a submachine gun, range band 2. I'm sorry, range band 3. So that's a -2, covers a -3, wounded -4. You're just going to shoot 1. Doesn't it? That's a 0. So he misses. So we'll do an assess. Assess battlefield here. And these guys over here are going to dodge. He's going to dodge too, to get him back on shot.
The bad guys coming around the flank have dodged forward, or have come forward on their movement to the area of the containers. We have tightened up our formation over here by getting a little closer, or getting out of the line of fire from up there, and ready for the combat phase. Combat phase, the first shots are going to will be fired by the UN. The first shot I'm going to fire is going to be right down through here. It is just barely range band 2. Also my Boyles has pulled back and is starting to work his way out. So that's Kenneth Cruz. Kenneth Cruz's base skill is only 3. He's already at a -2. I'm sorry, -1. But I'm going to go ahead and fire 3 rounds because that guy has got a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. Okay. 2, 3, 1 hit. No effect. Not what we wanted to see on that turn. He's going to go ahead and fire that rocket-propelled grenade launcher. He's going to aim for here. He's going to miss in a direction, ouch, of 7. He's going to miss by 4 inches, direction 7. Wow, not what we wanted. That's going to hit the van directly. It's going to be a 5-inch diameter. Okay. So I'm going to pull a card first for the vehicle. The vehicle is not affected. Now for the guy. Alright, so he is wounded and hamstrung. Alright, so rocket-propelled grenade launcher is fired, hits here, doesn't do any damage to the vehicle, does wound our man getting the goods. I'm going to go ahead and fire with the boss. Right through there, that same guy that just shot. This is range band 2. It's kind of in cover. -2. I have a 2 to hit. I'm going to go ahead and do 2-round bursts, so -3. And that's 1 hit. Wounded, hamstrung, and suppressed. He's going to lose the turn, and he's going to have to fall back. And both of these guys now are wounded and suppressed. But the other one can fire, and he's going to. He's going to fire at the fellow that just got hit there. It is range band 3, So that's a -2 right off the bat. -2, I'm going to go ahead and take -4s. Okay, nothing hit. He's going to return. He's going to do a 3-round volley at that same guy there. With -3s. Well, none of that hits. So that's it for our combat phase. And that brings an end to turn 3. And we go into turn 4. And we have to roll for initiative. Now we got the assess this time. So we have a +3. So that's going to be a total of +8. That's 12. That's only +2 for them, 5. So again, the UN has the initiative. And we go into first movement phase. Pull a card for the first movement for turn 4 for the terrorists who are not doing really well here. He's going to come out. He's going to move over to here. These guys are going to come around to the containers here. And those guys are going to cower back behind there. Okay, so that's it for our movement. We're going to go ahead and go to the action phases. We get to decide the first action. First thing I want to do is try to shoot that guy on the roof again with Corporal Prophet. Okay, he's still in cover, so that's, but he's in range band 1. So cover will put him down to a -1. I'm going to go ahead and fire 3 rounds for a -3. And that is 1 hit. Wounded, bleeding, and suppressed. However, that guy can only take 2 wounds, and that would be a second. So Khalid is dropped on the roof. Khalid would have been the response too. I forgot to mention that. Their activation, I'm going to try to activate Red Scorpion to stop his bleeding. He's okay. He loses a bleed token. Our reaction, I'm going to go ahead and take the item here. This guy's going to try to stop me. He is their worst man, though, the lowest militiaman that they have. Ishak Rasi, his modified action is 5. He's taking a shot at the UN's worst guy, Roger Dunn, who is a 6, but wounded. So he takes the item, he gets shot at by Rashad here. It is, in fact, range band 2, range band 3. So that's a -2 already. I'll go ahead and roll rounds. Okay, none of those hit. Boom, 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 boom. He needed a 6, so it was kind of unlikely. And now it is their action. And we are going to attempt to throw a grenade. We're going to try to attempt this grenade right on this guy here, right on him. So it's out of range. So this one measures a little differently. It's 8 and 2, it's only 2 inches. All right. So that's going to put him well. So that's going to do a red to him. That's no effect. It's going to do a red to the vehicle. And that vehicle there is destroyed. And it's going to do a green to our hero there. Oh! Who is wounded and suppressed. But he had already been wounded, so he is down. Oh, Dunn is down with the papers. Not good. That's going to change things. He's going to have to dodge to get to those papers. Let's get him right here. So that's the action phase. We're going to go to reactive movement phase. I don't even know what that means. Oh, so their first goal is to try to get the objective while remaining in cover. They're doing pretty good for that. That's their turn. He's going to turn to deal with them. So we're having a firefight starting here. These two guys here have used their reactive movement to come around the corner here. And our heroes, the boss has come back off of getting the goods, getting the papers, and that fellow's come up to support him in the nasty firefight that's about to take place right in here. I'm going to go ahead and shoot the boss first. He's going to go ahead and shoot all of his rounds. Normal skill is 2. All right, so he's got a +1. Except I could have wrapped all the way around, so. There we go. So 5, 6, 5, 6, and 5. That's 3 hits. Wounded and bleeding, wounded suppressed, and killed outright. So this guy's downed. But it is their turn. They're going to fire right back at me. This guy here is going to fire at him. He's got a negative, that is Yassine, and he has a 3 with a +1 for range. Gonna shoot all 3. 6, 4, 3, that's 3 hits. First one, wounded, severe wound. Now that would kill a normal guy, but this is the hero. But he took 3. So he's dropped. That leaves our guy back here. He's going to shoot. He did not move up that close, but he's still going to shoot. So he's got a -1 for cover and -3 for automatic, so -2. So it's total -3. That's a hit. And the other 2 are both misses. Killed outright. Boom, boom, boom. Good shooting, man. Tex. He drops him. He drops him. This has been a hairy phase. However, the guy back there is shooting. He is still with a bunch of negatives. But he's in the open now. So -2, 3, 4. So -4 because of the ranges. Nothing hits. Turn 5. So turn 5 begins with, we have to roll for initiative. 6, they get a +2. 6, it is tied. And so we're going to This Matters. So we spend all of our cash to outbid for initiative.
So the first movement is going to fall to the baddies. They're going to start maneuvering into place. I think what we'll do is put an idol on this guy. Who is wounded, so he's in a bad shape there. This guy's down, he's dead. The Red Scorpion is in there, still trying to stay alive. Still working on his bleeding. And then we have the action down here. So no movement, I don't think, on that score. We're going to move. We're going to drag. Done. Around the corner here, out of sight. All right, so that goes to the action phase. First action I'm going to do, nobody can really react, is he's going to pick up the papers. Their reaction, their turn, they got nothing to shoot at now. I've got to pull a card to see what he does. We'll do the wounded Red Scorpion first. He has to roll for his heat points. He just barely makes it, so he stops his bleeding issue. That takes us to reactionary move. They have to move their guys first. Selected movement is combat or movement, so they're going to stay where they're at. We're going to start getting out of here. To combat phase, there's no combats now. So that's the end of turn 5, and we go into turn 6. Did not assess. Ooh, they have it this time, but they don't really have much they can do. Well, we have to move first, so I'm going to start with a book it. His movement will be go back to the window. That's the only chance. He has to go hunker down, because that's the rules. He's not out of line of sight anyway from everybody. So that goes to reactionary move. Go ahead and move another reactionary move. That's what I was hoping for. Let's see if we're in. That's line of sight fires fight is blocked, so there's no firing. That's the end of that turn. We go to turn 7. Roll for initiative. They get 7. It's tied. We spent all of our money. Everybody spent all their money. So we'll roll again. It goes to the good guys. He's going to race down here into the cover. They're going to stay there. Going to go to action phase. He's got a 6. Our guy, this is for game. Modified action, roll 6. Ooh, so I'm going to give him that shot. I'm going to give him cover. So 28, it is in range band 3, that's a negative 2. In cover, negative 3. I think he can only shoot the 1. That's a hit, no effect. Well, that's not what he wanted, because he's going to do a dodge move, and that gets him there. And all he has to do now for turn 7 or for turn 8 is stay there. So game is won, just barely. The documents are got off. Bloody affair for the UN forces, losing all of their team, save for the hero of the day, Prophet, who makes it out with the documents.
So that is a a game of Battleforce played with the opposing force or solo rules. I think you'll find those cards, the card generating system for the artificial intelligence, I think is a really clever feature. The things that are on the card are very similar to the programming on how characters are programmed, say, in Perilous Tales. But the fact that it's separate cards and a random pull of the card on each phase that lays out what actions you'll take is really clever. And I think that's pretty innovative. I don't think any other game, at least no game that I'm familiar with, does that. And I think it was a very clever addition. It made for a very good game. I hope you enjoyed the game that you just saw. I certainly did. I'm going to definitely give this a try again. I hope that you will do so too. If you have already tried it, or you have questions you might like to share or ask, go ahead and put those in the comments down below. If there's further content you're interested in seeing here on Cry Havoc Wargaming, please include that down below. If you found this worthwhile, go ahead and hit like. And if you'd like to continue to get notifications of any more videos regarding the uncommon games out there, go ahead and hit subscribe. Till next time, cheers.